But when I started applying a biblical, godly standard to my house, everything started to get so much better. One of the coolest things I started doing with my family was memory verses. When I started trying to transform how I discipline the kids, I was thinking about how to do that. I read a book, and I can't remember which book it was. I'm going to try to figure that out and maybe do a video on the books that really changed my relationship with my kids and my wife and the roles that they played in bringing so much more peace and joy into my house. But when I started applying a biblical, godly standard to my house, everything started to get so much better. So one of the first memory verses that I had the kids memorize, I memorized it and the kids memorized it, Ephesians 4:32. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. Anytime there's a disciplinary action in our house, I try to reiterate why we have the rules that we do. We have 2 rules. I simplified. I used to get mad about everything, but I brought it back to just 2 rules. And the rules are don't disobey and have a good attitude. Pretty much everything comes down to that. The don't disobey comes directly from the fact that we should obey God's commands. We should learn to love the standard. And that's where the bad attitude part comes in. We should love our neighbor as ourselves. We should do it joyfully. We should obey joyfully, because it really doesn't do anybody any good to have a bad attitude about stuff. And so we work through things as a family that way. And this one, having multiple kids, was a no-brainer. One part of making discipline a lot easier and a lot better and more joyful and not as heavy-handed and all of that comes down to using very simple ideas. There's nothing more simple than your kids should be kind to one another, tender-hearted, and forgiving each other. And so this is a staple in our house. We use this one all the time. So I would encourage you, as you are implementing discipline in your house, if you're trying to improve the way discipline is administered and the peace in your home and all of this, memorizing certain verses like this are a super easy way to help with that. So once you identify that one of your kids has done something that's not kind to one of their siblings, you can say, what is our memory verse? Well, it's be kind, tender-hearted, forgiving each other as God in Christ forgave you. You can go through the memory verse, and then you could tell them what the standard is, and you can tell them that that other child is your child as well, right? And it bums you out when kids are. So this isn't like how to discipline your kid video, but it is an illustration of how you can use this. And then it also gives you an opportunity to then bring that problem before God, and you get to give an example of how to confess sinful behavior and thinking about others. We can talk to God about those things. So it's a good way to bring the Bible and prayer into those times of discipline for you and your kids.